Massacre on the beat!
Welcome everyone to the Winlife podcast, where we focus on financial and personal growth, as well as creative expression. Today, I have a very special guest. Very happy to have her on the show, Fabrienne Trebizo, also known as Fabs. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you and I'm looking forward to this interview.
I appreciate you taking the time out. Really, the podcast is, like I like to say, just about one, it's about giving people their flowers while they're here, which is important because I see a lot of us on our come up, or we're doing a lot of work and we don't necessarily get the recognition, or we're not seeking spotlight, a lot of us, but we're doing a lot of great things and they might not be highlighted because they're not just the popular over sensualized things, but nevertheless, they're just great things, whether it's business, creating opportunities for others, creating art on all different mediums. So yeah, just glad to have you on the show, and just going to kind of pick your brain, and also just want to pull out your creative blueprint, your life blueprint, and share with others in hopes of helping them on their own journey.
Yes, absolutely. I would be so happy just to know that we're just putting it out there and letting people know there's a lot of resources and benefits and things that are out available to us when we're in a phase that we can't seem to get out of, whether it be mentally or emotionally or addiction. You know, people need to hear from real people.
Definitely. And, people that's actually doing the work, and all the people I've interviewed are just people that they have a goal, they have a vision for their life. And regardless of their circumstance, whether they came from, wealth or from poverty, regardless, they just had something in them that pushed them. So just want to, figure that out and just keep cracking that code so we can all just be able to be, I guess, world builders, have that thought, have that vision, and bring it to life instead of just kind of having a thought and just sitting on it. So
absolutely. And it's so vital to our younger kids and generations to know, because they're coming out of parents like me and grandparents like my parents. And I'm so blessed to see my kids not have those type of issues and stuff for all the sacrifices that I had to make. So I tried to shelter them as much as I could with it, so they would know that that's just not the kind of life that we want to live anymore.
wow, that's beautiful. I don't have any kids personally, but just, and that's kind of been like a fear of mine as well. Like, I guess we're going there early, but just me passing on trauma or mental issues to my own children. And it's very, it's welcome to hear like you tell that, because it's like you can do it the right way. And yeah, that's just awesome.
Thank you.
But I do have an introduction. I do like to give everybody an intro before we start, and then I'll just kind of start to get to picking your brain away. So,
Okay.
So Fabrienne Trebizo is an artist, author, and entrepreneur. She resides in Southern California. Through the creation of her book, All of Us, Fabs has been able to share her story and help many others around the world. She has created multiple businesses and made a huge impact in the music industry as well. The Winlife podcast welcomes Fabrienne to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so humbled by you right now.
Well, I mean, you did the work. It's very cool to have an author on the show, and I read your book just this weekend before the show, and it was just like I was telling you before we started the interview, it was very profound. It's called All of Us, and I personally was just able to really extract some gems on life, and like how we deal with the human experience for one, but just how you stay positive through it all, how people that you encounter in the world, you may feel like no one understands you. You might have that feeling of loneliness, just all these things that the human experience will lead to. And if you don't check it or know how to deal with it, it can lead to things like addiction or just mental imbalances. And man, like, so yeah, just I recommend all of us for sure. This is not like a plug or anything, but like you read a book and you get the author on the show, it's just like super dope. So
Thank you. Thank you. And I just feel like, as you're saying these things to me, I definitely appreciate your compliments, but I kind of feel like this is something that I was supposed to do. Like I went through all these things I needed to go through in order to be the person who I am today, the mother who I am, the daughter who I am. And I just like passing things on to help others get a different insight about life and try to turn their negative thought or coping mechanism and give them just more of a positive, different type of coping mechanism so they can change the pattern of themselves and pass that on to their younger ones or their nieces, nephews, or whatnot, so they know how to be good people out in the world. We're already set in our ways. We do what we do, but it's so important to try to switch that up a little bit so we can be a better role model for our grandkids, me, basically my grandkids, because I have grandkids now. So it's even more so important.
when did you start to, I guess, realize your effect on others and how basically like how you can help other people and guide in their life? Because when I talk to you, it's like I know you're not like, I don't think you're a therapist or a counselor or like a life coach or anything like that, but I get that vibe. Like everyone you encounter, you're just someone that's there to help them. I just wonder like where you got that from, or is it just kind of in your nature?
I think it's through everything that I've been through and all the things that I didn't have or wish that I did have, or be the person that I wish I could have been for myself when I was younger. And, some things in life are hard, like, our loved ones overdosing and dying and stuff. Like, how do you manage that? You really can't. It's like a battle that you have to face every day. But just to pass that on, like, to other people that are going through the same thing, I could just give them how I deal with it and hope that they can apply it to their own lives if they're not already.
Gotcha. So it really just sounds like it is in your nature, because that's like, you're kind of saying it's your calling, like being on this podcast, like all of this. It seems like you have found a way to be aligned with your purpose, I guess. And it's not a question or anything, but I'm really getting that from you, that you are very confident and know your purpose, even if it changes. I get that from you. What do you speak to, like, just like life purpose and all that?
I feel like this is my calling. This is my purpose. Like, people gravitate towards me, and instead of me trying to be egotistical about the situation, I'm humbled about it, and when I hear people say, Fabs, like, I read this in your book and it just really helped me and I didn't feel like so alone. I felt like you were there with me. Like, how does someone process all that? It's
Right.
kind of hard. It's really hard. I'm thankful, don't get me wrong, like, but what do you say? Because it's so deep and profound of me sharing my stories and stuff. Like, I literally feel naked in front of a whole bunch of people, so I have to deal with that, as well as being able to be an advocate or an example.
When did you get into writing and, art and all that?
Well, I think my writing has always been something that was inside of me. It's so funny that you asked that, because 2 days ago, me and my friend were going to go for a drive, and I showed him in my glove department that all these poems and stories that I've written, and I think I've seen one that was like 1982 or something like that.
Wow.
So I think it's just always been in me. So I just never really took it serious, because I myself was not in a good place to sit down and really write these things out.
Did you get that kind of like that writing bug, or was it passed down from your mom or something like that, or
Well,
all
the
you?
first I think it's just I knew I had to put something out there because I had written a book a couple of years ago, and I wrote a lot of like detailed raw stories that happened in my life, and it created so many problems. Like some of my families, like they hated me because of the things I had
Mm,
exposed, and because of that experience, I just kind of shied away from keep going. But I was going through a lot myself, and I was caught up in my emotions here, and I didn't understand how to separate that and how to take care of myself, like my inner being. And once I broke away from what I was trying to accomplish, I was like, you know what, I need to write something to update what's going on for the ones that have read my first book. They want a story, they want to update. So where are you at now? What happened to you? So I wrote the All of Us book so that I could share my progress. And I just dropped Spiritual Awakening, which talks about my spiritual awakening when I woke up. And these are the things that I had to do to get here
oh,
in
you
my
just
spiritual
dropped a new
journey.
book?
I just dropped a new book. It's called Spiritual Awakening. And I dropped a poetry book, which is called Love Chronicles. So the Love Chronicles is just basic, a whole bunch of just poems. And then the Spiritual Awakening one is a story off of the All of Us one. So it talks about like how I learned how to pray with candles. I don't know how you feel on the topic of your podcast, but I'm very like Wicca slash spiritual. So we do a lot of like candle burning, a lot of like intent rituals and stuff, nothing bad or crazy or anything like that. It's all just light work. And
No
it
judgment
explains,
here. We want
I
to know
think,
the secrets. Thank you for sharing, because people are like, dang, how you manifest that? Well, this
Mhm.
is how. So it's
Well,
all of the parts, you know.
yeah, it's everything together. Like you have to understand, you have to separate yourself in your past and your family. Like if they raised you Catholic or if they raised you Christian, like you have to separate yourself from the doctrine of what their interpretation of the Bible, because that's not the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to read it and we're supposed to take what resonates with us and apply it to our lives, not just some human flesh person giving us a spiel on his experience with the Bible and trying to make us see it in his perspective, but that's not how all of us see it. I don't know if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yep. Because it's the word and that happens in, different churches or even just, cults, but even just churches, everyone starts to basically worship the pastor or the person that's giving you the word when, you're supposed to, like, the word tells you not to worship any man and, have no image. So we know that people just kind of have that in their nature. And I guess we would call them sheeple. but yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah. So, and I write about that. And then I also put in some chants in case people want an example of like, well, what did you say? So I wrote a couple of chants in there and I explained to it how it's not like to be taken scary or like you're doing witchcraft, because there's no right or wrong way on how we pray. I mean, it also says in the Bible that our God is the Alpha and Omega. So whoever you're praying to, I'm praying to something else, we are still praying to the same God.
Right. Yeah. I mean, chants, mantras, prayers it's all how you it's all the same stuff in a way, not to just generalize, but just thinking of, the human vehicle and humans like a technology. It's like we have that power to evoke through words and rituals. And some people have mastered these processes and some people have different, followings, whether it's Wicca, breatharianism, whatever it may be. But and that's kind of the goal with the podcast, is like we look at everyone's differences and paths, and then you start to see the underlying themes of what people are doing to manifest and bring their inner world into their outer world in the way that they see fit. So definitely be taking
Yes,
notes, people.
absolutely.
So let's kind of just take it back and talk about Fabs. Where are you from? And I know you're from SoCal, but where is it? What was it like growing up and everything?
Well, I was born out here in LA County, and then I moved to Porterville. I think I must have been like 3. It's like a little town out in a cut by Fresno. And I was raised with my grandma for up until I was like 16-ish, and just going through so much with my parents, and my dad being an addict, and my mom, chasing after him and doing all the things that she impulsively needed to do because of the things she was dealing with. And my grandmother kind of took on that maternal role and passed on, things to me about morals and values and how you conduct yourself as a lady and as a mother. Like, she installed all those things inside of me. And I just, I don't know, I just was really depressed, I think, because of my whole dad situation and the dynamic. I wanted to commit suicide, and I had talked to a counselor about it. My mom, I had to go into one of those hospitals for 72 hours, and it was just a lot. So we picked up and we moved to Sacramento, and I
How
stayed
old
out
were
there.
you around this time?
About 16.
16.
Yeah,
Okay.
16. So then we moved to Sacramento, and I met my first daughter's dad there, and he joined the Navy, and we came out this way, and we split up, but I've stayed out here ever since.
Okay. How many kids or young adults do you have now?
I have 4. I have 2 girls and I have 2 boys, and they're all 21 and over. Thank the Lord.
You did your time, huh? Now they could
Man.
pay it back.
Bye. All I have to say is bye.
So it seems like family is, family is almost everything. It's just super important to you. Would you agree?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And it's how would you say, it's humbling when you have your kids' friends tell them, like, I love your family so much, like, you're dynamic, you guys always come together when something happens or a major decision needs to be made. You guys always come together. And my son's girlfriend was like, you don't understand what it's like to not have a mom like you. Like, your mom is all about you guys, and my mom's not like that. So, when I hear that, I'm like, damn, like, all these sacrifices I had to make, it just pays off, and I'm
Any
seeing that now.
regrets?
Kind of a little bit. Just, I wish I could have like been more awake like I am now, so I didn't really wait so long and have all this time go by me when I should have been on together. But it's kind of hard to regret that, because it made me and gave me the push I needed to continue the work that needed to be done.
Okay. Is there any advice or tips for, people that are going through their struggles of, stepping into their own, but they also are, trying to make a change in the world, starting their goals and all that? Anything to kind of get them ready and make it so they don't like waste no time and they getting right on it?
I mean, the best thing I could say is to just separate yourself. You're going to have to sit down and you're going to have to write out everything you want to change, everything you don't want, and separate yourself from everything completely. Like, you literally have to die to your own self. Like, if you're doing something bad, you're going to have to learn how to cut that out. And some things are harder to cut out of our lives out of habit or out of codependency. But you'll realize that once you sit down and tell yourself, okay, this is it. Because there's no way I could say, hey, this is it for you. Today's going to be your new day. It has to just be it. It's just going to smack you in your face, and you just have to do it. And if it's now, but if you're listening to this podcast, or if you just read something on a meme, since that's like the new thing, or, or a friend just drops something and it just makes sense to you, and you're just like, fuck, you're just like, I really have to, change the situation. You just have to do it.
Just do it. Sound like
Yeah.
Nike.
I mean, it's all in my spiritual awakening book, like in detailed,
Right.
and it talks about like how I did it and how I have my 10 steps backwards. And, it's so easy to say, you just have to do it, but it's not easy at all. But when
Right.
you're ready and you can't close that door. Like once you open up that door, you won't be able to close it. So you have to be prepared for things that you're kind of pushing back of your head and you don't want to deal with the process. It's going to come and you have to deal with it.
Right. That's the dying to yourself part, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Because if you don't, like the way we're designed is it's gonna manifest outwardly, like you're gonna be imbalanced or gonna have what I cannot find the words today. Basically, you're gonna be repressing it. And that's where people start coping with substance or whatever it may be, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it. And then also some of it is just the dynamic at home. My mom's always sad. My dad always yelled at her. Okay, this is normal. My husband's always yelling at me and I'm sad. So I'm like, this got to be normal. This is what my mom's doing, stuff like that.
Right. But deep down, it's not, right? And
Yes.
we have to break
Yes.
free of that. And that's, you just do it, but it's fucking, yeah, we can curse. It's fine. It's fucking tough. You got, it's going to be painful. And I don't know, just in my own experience, a lot of times when I don't just do it, life decides it for me. Cause I suffer from like severe panic and anxiety disorder that would be like debilitating for a week. And I would just manifest it with negative thinking. And that's how I've actually realized my thoughts created my outcomes. This was, maybe 15 years ago almost, but I would manifest negative outcomes. And then I had to like basically reprogram and start to flip it and think positive and stop thinking negative. And it's like, just do it. But once I realized it, and you remember The Secret, I know you heard of The Secret, but like my friend put me on that when it was on Netflix and I watched it, and they was trying to explain to me like about, how the reality is and stuff. And but from that, it took me like just a couple years just to like start to wipe out old programming. And even because, to like feel good and feel your energy. Like, I was like, what the hell? I can't feel nothing for like a long ass time, but I had to keep trying to feel it, like the inner self and stuff.
Yeah. And it's like when these changes that you're trying to make and these situations come, it's so important to be like, okay, this is it right here. I have to make the change right now. I have to react to it a different type of way. Like, for example, my mom and my older brother are at ends. We've been at ends with him for so many years. And, instead of her being upset about it and just crying about it, she was just like, I can't do it anymore. It's so important when that time comes, you have to switch it on, even though it's so hard because you're just like, I just want to cuss him out. Like, I just want to do all these things, the things that you're used to doing. And it just makes it bigger and bigger versus when you just can separate yourself from your own ego, you're able to handle it a little better and react a little better. And then things start getting better.
Oh yeah. I know that feeling and that, just that perspective of, I guess, detachment from it all. And it does feel very like you feel like you're in control by knowing that you're not in control. Almost like I can't control everything. Like you got out your ego, but like, I don't know. It's hard to put some of these things into words, but I know that feeling. I guess like I remember Neo in the Matrix when he realized he was the one and he started seeing everything in ones and zeros. He just so calm and like detached from things. And yeah.
Yes. I feel it.
So you're not only are you a creative and an artist, but we actually, I don't know if you remember because you work with a lot of artists, but I think we met because you were throwing together events out here. And then I was an upcoming artist out here and I was doing shows on some of your events. And
Yes, I remember.
okay. So how did you get the entrepreneurial spirit? I want to ask, and like, where'd that all come from?
Well, I believe I'd have to say when I had a really bad experience at work, I was running a learning facility for like 11 years and I didn't have a boss. I was the top person. And from me, there's the owner of the facility. So he would, make sure that we had money and stuff of bills and whatever, but I pretty much ran and programmed the facility itself. So it kind of made me like, this was my home. Like I was so confident that this was something I was going to be doing for the rest of my life. And on the 11th year, the owner had offered to have a sexual relationship with me. And when I turned it down, he fired me. And I was so sick. I got so sick, and I just had to find a way to hustle so that I can make ends meet, or we can have things, because it wasn't available at that time when all that stuff happened. And I think allowing him to fund my life and to him pretty much control all my stability of home and money and stuff like that. He had control all over that. And once I realized that, I was like, I can't give anybody ever that control over me again. So I have to do something. I don't care what it is. I have to do something. I have to create something unique, because I needed to make this happen. And it just kind of grew from there.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. And yeah, that's not okay. And yeah, it's just not. And that's just something that women go through that us men can never really understand. But us as men have to, don't do shit like that. I'm not trying to give a spoiler in your book, but didn't something similar happen with the landlord there? Or
well, when I was younger, I had I was violated when I was younger, and he knew that. The owner knew all that stuff that I had went through in my life, and it just made me feel like, how you knew this about me in my life? How could you put me in the same situation? You know what I mean? Like, what would make him think that, knowing everything that happened in my life, like what would make you think it would be okay for you to put me in this situation? So I kind of feel like he groomed me,
right,
or it was like he was waiting for the opportunity. And he
that's
just
what
kind of
predators
went with
do.
it. And
That's
he
what
just
predators
kind
do. They
of,
lie in the cut and then wait to strike people,
yeah, well, he struck me all right.
But I just want to say I'm sorry you went through that, and I really appreciate you sharing that, because it's a lot to share that. But trust me, I know so many people have gone through this, and you will help people through this. But it's just very commendable. And I mean, necessity, basically. You said, I have to take care of myself. I can't depend on anyone, because I think a lot of us look at a job and we see security, but like you said, at the end of the day, you were dependent on the owner. Whatever your company is, you're dependent on the owner. If they decide to sell the company, if they pass away, anything can happen, and there isn't a such thing as job security. So I think being an entrepreneur or being business minded, like Anton Daniel said, being business minded is so important. Even if you don't have a brick and mortar store or online sales store that you run, just treating everything like a business is, just is not even like a option anymore in this society. It's like you have to do that if you don't want to be a slave, and if you want to retire not poor, struggling on Social Security. Is like we have no option, especially in California.
Man, absolutely. And I feel like as individuals, we need to do that so we can keep our identity to ourselves, because a lot of us depend on our husbands, and husbands depend on their wives. And if they ever left them or whatever, like, what are you going to do? Or you give them so much power over you, you don't even know how to make a car payment.
So, yeah, that's definitely true. Like we all got to be self-sufficient, and just never know what can happen. Let me ask you this: how have you because what I see when I look at you is you're a super creative person. You have just a bunch of ideas and thoughts, but you're able to put them together cohesively, convey and express deep emotion, deep intellectual, emotional thought, like, and explain it and elaborate it on a way that anyone can understand if you can read, like, or maybe it's my perspective is a little skewed, but I felt like you were just the wisest person. And they say like the wisest person, like you should be able to explain it simple. Like, I feel like you do that. But you also, we in a capitalistic society, you got to get the bag, woo, woo. And it seems like you found a way to mend the two, basically monetizing your creativity, your art, whether it's your music, your multiple publications, and your different, businesses from promoting. So if you can kind of explain that process, how you do it, like how you got to the point where you can manifest like that.
I mean, a lot of it, like I said, was trial and error, just trying to do something and it didn't work out, or, trying something else and it didn't work out. I got into the 420 industry right before it even started being legal out here. And way when Weed Maps first was on the map, like we were able to have our own icons on their platform, and it was like $300 a month or something like that. Now they're asking like $3,000 an icon. Like, it's crazy. But I got into that industry and I was thankful. I was making edibles. We were doing good. We were dispensing to a dispensary, and then we had an accident. My ex, he was an addict, is an addict, and he was extracting, and he decided to light his lighter and he blew himself up. So after that was done, I just didn't want to have anything to do with the 420 as far as that perspective. So I started thinking about like logos and stuff, and made some logos to put on some shirts, and that went very well. Just all these little things. I feel like they're all little bubbles and they're all just kind of bubbling. And I go back and I water them a little bit for each of them to grow. And I don't know, it's just something that hit me, and it was like, Gabs, you need to write. You need to finish writing and you need to start writing music. And that's where the music came from.
You mentioned that it's like you have all these bubbles, these seeds, these plants, you got to water them for they can keep growing. Do you ever feel like stretched too thin or overwhelmed, or like you didn't tend to this plant and now it's withering away, to keep the analogy going?
Absolutely. I feel like that, like with the whole body scoping situation, I was going to do like a whole body scoping mobile service, and it was great right before COVID hit. But then the thought of having people, because I was going to do it at home too. So the thought of having people come to my house or going to a stranger's house, the COVID thing, like it wasn't feasible. So I didn't continue with it. But here we are, all these, like I think maybe 2 years now later, I went to a friend of mine's house and I did the whole cavitation on her body. And now she wants to open it up and start doing like a side business with body scoping again. So even though it sat for like 2 years, I didn't give up. I just kind of let it write itself out and put it in the back burner. And it just basically opened on its own.
So let me ask, have you ever done that with your writing? Like took an extended period, or needed to get back to it or get rusty or anything like that?
I mean, sometimes I get writer's block and I get frustrated because I can't tap into any type of energy to be able to put some words together. And that gets frustrating because I feel like I need to sharpen my thoughts and my tools, and always writing. So I try to write every single day. And I used to write like 7, 8 a day. But then when I got picked up from Chase Music Group, I kind of slow down a little bit so I can conserve the things I'm about to record, and just give that all the energy that I've been kind of conserving and put that into this album.
Okay. Do you ever feel like you just don't want to do it, or like you just over it for an extended period?
Not really. I mean, it's hard. The only time I really feel over it is when I have to tap into like emotions that I'm still healing from. And I'm just like, I don't really want to do this shit no more. Like this shit hurts and I feel like I'm going backwards, but it's part of the healing. And yeah, I just want to be like, fuck it. I just want to sit in my corner and smoke my weed, you know?
Do you ever feel like that, like with I think I'm asking these questions for myself, but do you ever feel like that with like the promotional and marketing part of things? It's like you went through all this, damn near to process your trauma just to get this work done, but then it's like, I gotta go do book events and perform, or are you just more like looking forward to that more than anything?
I think I look forward to it more than anything because it became a coping mechanism now. Like I look forward to studio time. Like I look forward to helping people, even though if I'd be tired because I'm absorbing all these energies. I made them all feel good about themselves. So I look forward to it. Yeah, I definitely look forward to it.
That's what's up. So what are your plans for your music career and your new venture and everything?
Well, as far as the music career, I just want to write a whole bunch of songs. There's a hummingbird right in front of my face right now.
Nice.
Hi, baby. I know I'm like so distracted because it was like literally, I'm in my room looking out the window and it's like literally in my face. That's so cool. So the music thing, well, after I got picked up with Chase, we decided we were going to record like spoken words, kind of like jazz a little bit. And he's going to create the music behind me. And we're going to have featured artists that's going to do some ad libs or some hymns while I'm talking and stuff. And I'm definitely excited about that and just kind of see where that goes. And whoever I can write from here on out, like, I'm down to write, even if it's like a bridge or a chorus, like I'm down to get any little percentage from all these songs that I'm dropping words for, just so that I can be comfortable in life so that I can continue to do these things.
Do you have any creative ideas you're putting together for maybe like your marketing, your rollout, your visuals? Are you starting to put that all together, like mending that business and creativity in that facet?
What do you mean?
I mean, because you're gonna put together the album, but then you have to think about, you mentioned logos, like you have to think about your artwork, you have to think about what platforms I'm gonna do, or am I gonna do a release party, or I know you throw your own events, so maybe you put together your own showcase and you headline it. I just wonder how you start thinking about all that as you approach a project, because I think like a lot of artists, we make the art, but then it's like, what you're going to do with it, you got to promote it. But I think a key component is you can be creative in how you promote it.
Yeah, I'm still kind of shy, so I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. And so I'm kind of still coming out of my shell. And that whole performance that Sammy and I did this past weekend, it was new. I've never been on the mic before. I've never done anything like that in my life.
Wow.
It was like, you have to do this, Fabrienne. There was somebody there that was from Sony that was watching us. So Sammy landed a meeting with her about, what we were doing. And if I didn't do that, we wouldn't have had that feedback, because it was together. We did it together. We were aligned together. I've never done that before. And I have a photo shoot coming up, and I have to do like 12 different looks and match them with poems. And I feel like when I start doing these things, then I feel like, am I bragging because I'm asking somebody to come and help me figure these things out? Like, I don't want it to be like that because when you tell somebody you're in the entertainment center, the field, and you're like, oh, I'm a songwriter, they just look at you weird. It's just the way it is. Oh, I write music, or I'm an author. They just give you this look, unless you're aligned and you know how to separate yourself from your ego, then you can compliment somebody and be a little more, I may not be doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now, but let me tell this person, good luck, or some kind of positive affirmation. And I don't get that a lot. So when I do call my cousin and I'm like, you have to help me with all these 12 outfits. I want to look this. I want to look that. There's still that voice in my head saying, "Are you bragging?"
I hear that. But I would say no, it's just now this is just work, like you create, that's what I'm saying. You made this thing that has a life of its own, and like now it's taken on a life. And how do you convey it and get it out to other people? Like that's a dope idea. 12 photo shoot, 12 looks, a poem for each one. Like that sounds so fire. So you the shit, Fab. And like and like we all got our moment. It's not like I didn't see you manage artists and help me get on the stage. Like shit, like you can do that for yourself too. So yeah, don't
But
feel
I feel
like
like
any
I'm
of that.
bragging. I feel
Well,
like
you
I'm
should brag a
bragging.
little because it's something to brag about. It's just, to rein in your ego and be kind and keep helping others, but never dim your light because it's already out here now. So
I know. I'm like, what did I do?
yeah, that's what it can be a lot because I can tell, I'm assuming you're introverted like me,
Yes.
like, like you were saying, you'll get tired. You got to get your energy from within and all that stuff. So, that's normal. That's normal, but just keep going. Just keep going with it. Like, I think like some of your biggest opportunities are just happening for you. And you've been putting in all this work. Like I've been out in Cali for almost a decade, and I think you were one of the first promoters I met, and you've been consistent. Maybe you're not doing music, but you're doing a book. I bought edibles off you. Like you always got something going. And so when your moment comes, it's just like, it's your time. And if, all those people you you poured into them. And like, if they feel a way about helping you, it's like, not like fuck you, but in a way it's like, okay, I got you. But you know,
Yeah. Thank you so much for all that.
hey, I'm just being real with you. And yeah, if there's anything I could do, like ever lend vocals or help out, I have different skills, or just share posts, I can always do that too.
Yes. Thank you so much. We have another show coming up in September and a gospel show that's going to come up in October. So I have to write like one more song, and we've got 3 gospel songs to perform as well. And we just got submitted for being openers at the Coachella event next year.
What?
Yeah, and I didn't know that. Sammy didn't tell me that until after the fact, because she was like, I don't want to tell you because I don't want you to get overwhelmed, and then you're not going to go out there and you're not going to do your part. But yeah, when I left, the guy that was throwing the show, he was telling me that he was looking for artists to open up at the Coachella show. And he really liked the way me and Sammy came together. He was like, I didn't know you guys were going to bring it like that. But we just have fun together. And I think that's what everybody feeds off our energy, because we're laughing and we're,
Yeah, you could
fun,
tell that you guys are friends and it's genuine. And like your performance, I didn't know that was your first performance, but it wasn't half bad. You got a lot of potential. I could tell you were maybe like a little like stiff. I got to be critical, be 100%. It seemed like you were just a little stiff because like maybe you were just want to make sure you get everything right and you were just like a little nervous, but you seem like a natural. And I can only tell that because like I do this too, but like you commanded the mic, like it was something you naturally were doing. And I just watching you, it felt like you were tapping into your inner, right? But part of you was still reserved and like observing, like with, how you kind of open your eye, who's looking. So my advice is just go full beast mode. And but part of it is just going to be experience and getting the reps in. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. And sometimes like that whole, when she was responding, or I don't know how you would say it, when I was doing my part and she was kind of counteracting, it was making me laugh. So I kind of like, fuck, I wasn't expecting you to do that. Like you should have said that. So I'm not laughing, but she did that, and you could kind of tell that like I wanted to laugh so bad.
Hey, but the people will pick up on that too, that raw energy. And like performing is not just about getting out there and rapping your lyrics. So like, it's that MCing aspect, and make it y'all laugh in little witty banner and call and response, and then everybody else pick up on it. And, we laugh with it. And like, we literally pick up the frequency like from you. So it's fire. Yeah. I did have a bunch of questions, but I usually just kind of start talking. Anything you want to talk about, cause you want to bring attention to? You already talked about you have an upcoming music project and your new books, but anything else you want to share with us?
I mean, you can always go to winpublications.com or all of us. Is it all of us? Yeah, all of us shop. Those are where my books are at. You can order and read it. You know, you can always inbox me or email me if somebody wants to just talk. You know, when you talk to strangers that don't know you, it's kind of easier to open up to them. So I'm always open for emails. Speakers, I've been doing that a little bit too. So I'm open to do that as well. I come with the team, so it's not just me. And just continue to do what you need to do. You guys want a change of life, you know, be prepared. Be prepared for the hurt. Prepared for the celebrations, but just fight it and just keep doing what you need to do to change your dynamic at home. And got to remember what you're doing it for.
Yes, of course. Okay, I'll just ask you a couple more questions and we'll wrap. Do you like have any books that you recommend, or like favorite books, whether it's just like a novel, but also I was thinking like business, self-help, entrepreneurial books, like something you'll recommend for people to jump into?
Not really. I used to read a lot of Stephen King books. Like those are the type of books I've read. I do go online and Google, you know, spiritual awakening and things to look out for if you're spiritual, and things, just stuff like that. Frequencies, high frequencies when you're trying to manifest abundance or harmony, you know, listen to those frequencies for sure, for sure. That's really it. There's no self-help but experience in life. And that's basically what the book was about when I wrote it. Because sometimes we don't know what the hell to do. And you know what? Me neither.
Yeah, when you were describing like your process with writing books, it reminds me of my process with writing albums. You're like, you know, I dropped this is my life. I had to put it out there. But hey, I want to update people with what's going on in my life now. So I dropped a new project. And yeah, I could relate to that just with the music. So maybe you'll start noticing that with your music too, and you could draw parallels, or maybe you even do something dope like drop a book, like a mini book with your album. Like, I don't know, no artist dropping a book with the album. I don't know.
Ooh, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. I might have to write a couple of poetry books in there.
Right. Or, you know, have something that goes with it, like some of the poems from the album, and it's like limited. I'll definitely buy that.
Nice.
But your book's on Amazon too,
know.
right?
Yeah,
I think I bought it on Amazon.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on our websites. You can get it at Barnes and Nobles. What else? There's a few more, but I can't think of off the top of my head. But those I know for sure.
Where do people go to make sure you get the biggest percentage?
It goes to allofus.shop or Win Publications, because it's still split evenly no matter which way it gets ordered.
Right. But Amazon takes a cut when you go through them, right?
I believe so.
Okay. But okay, so I was just gonna ask, if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
To inspire others to not give up. That would be my thing. To be able to change people's lives, whether they tell you about it or not. To change people's life.
You're definitely doing that. And then the last question we like to ask to all of our guests is, what does winning at life mean to you?
Looking at my grandson, knowing that he has no idea of the life that we had to live.
Wow.
Because when I look at him, and he's a little spoiled there. When I look at him, I'm just like, damn, you're so lucky.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's like a full circle, you know?
Yes,
circle, yeah.
absolutely. Mhm.
Okay. I think that is going to do it, guys. Ladies and gentlemen,
All
thank you.
right.
Thank you, Fabs, for
Yes,
doing
you're
another one with
welcome.
me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, guys, this is the end of the episode. We'll see you next week. Take care. Peace out.
Bye.